Hello, everybody. You're tuning into Cragcore. So this is just a quick update on the food shortage issue. I do like to keep an eye on it as I'm walking around, and I'm paying close attention as to where these shortages are happening. Now, in the local, like corner shops, convenience stores, there seems to be, an okay flow of food and what have you. These things seem to be stocked relatively well, but obviously they're smaller, so shortages would be seen, I suppose, less in these places. At the supermarkets, it seems as though shelves are elusively, and I say that in a way of kind of putting across that it seems as though there is an illusion that there is no food shortage going on. However, if you look at the top shelves where all of the ready stock, the stock that they basically use when they're stocking shelves to bring down and put onto the actual shelves where the produce is there ready to be bought. So these top shelves where all of that ready stock is kept, for the most part, they're empty. I've just been to my local Tesco, and I mean, what's the date today? It's the 29th of August, and they're all empty. There's a few that aren't, but most of them are empty at the top. And then the top shelf that's down from that, where you can actually buy stuff from, is empty as well. And what they've done is they've put like a little thing there, like a screen, like a sign that says Tesco, we're here to help, whatever it is. I can't remember what it fucking says. But basically, they're kind of disguising the fact that it's an empty shelf by putting this sign across it, and turning it into, something that looks as though it's meant to be there, when really there's meant to be food there. So the shelves that you can buy stuff from seem to be having food put on them, but the little kind of the shortfall that's at the top isn't there anymore. So that tells me, considering that last week the bit at the top there was only a few that were empty, not all, whereas now there is more and more becoming empty at the top. So it seems as though that shortfall, that overflow, is starting to diminish. So at this point, I think it's safe to assume that there are shortages, because at this point, I mean, you have to look at the shelves and remember what it was like on a normal day, before all of this crazy crisis stuff. By crisis, I mean social crisis. Before all of this, you never saw this kind of thing. You never saw shortages like this. Not on random products. Not on the tins of beans aisle. You know what I mean? You didn't see things like that. Those things were always stocked. You may have seen shortages with regards to, say, seasonal produce that they couldn't import from Spain perhaps on one week. Perhaps the tomatoes from Spain had been held up and they're out of season in the UK, so there wasn't any tomatoes for a week. So what? That's the thing. We can live without tomatoes for a week, especially when they're out of season. I mean, should you really be eating stuff out of season? But we digress. That's not something we need to be talking about. Ultimately, I think we need to just think about this and keep your eyes peeled well and truly, and think about what it is you're going to do to prepare for this, because it seems as though it's not slowing down. There is a steady increase in the shortage and how it seems to be happening. Now just keep your eyes on the top shelves. Keep your eyes up on that top bit where the shortfall, the overflow of stock is kept, and just be prepared, act accordingly at this point. Are you in a position where you are able to survive for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, perhaps a month, if, the supermarkets are closed? due to no stock, or say for instance that, you know, like I said in the last video regarding this subject, are you in a position where you can survive should there be a priority list? And I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, like me, you are defying the regime, the agenda, the obvious power grab. If you are defying this, then you definitely need to prepare. If you are not, say for instance, if you're a regular person that's gone along with all of this, you know, all power to you. You know, you could potentially be doing the right thing here. Who's to say who's right and who's wrong at this point? I suppose only time will tell. But if you are one of these people that has followed the regime, you know, step by step, and you believe in the government agenda, well then again, like I say, you know, all power to you, but perhaps you ought to try and prepare at least for a minimal shortage, because yes, if there should be a priority list as to who can go in and who can't, you know, to buy food and what have you, you have to remember that perhaps you won't always be at the front of the queue, and you might not get a chance either. So who knows how this is going to pan out, because a food shortage means that eventually the food supply will run out for everybody. So ask yourself, have you got the ability to survive should this happen, regardless of your point of view with regards to what's going on and how the government are choosing to manage this situation and, in my opinion, create it as we progress. I have one request, and that is to everybody. No matter where you fall, you know, no matter what side of the fence you fall on with regards to your opinion on the government agenda, try and get in touch with your humanity and just try and ask yourself, you know, how would you want to be treated, and what would you want other people to act like with you, should you end up being on the wrong side of the fence? Because, like I've said, you know, time will tell, and there are two groups of people. There is two factions. There is a mass polarization happening, which ultimately, as I said in my video with regarding polarization, you know, positive and negative, in my opinion, is a good thing. It's a positive thing because it means that we'll eventually realize that that's not the way forward, which is good. You know, we'll only learn how to integrate when we realize that polarization is, you know, completely the wrong way to go. Now, I'm not saying, as I just move off point slightly here, that polarization is something we need to completely get away from. There needs to be polarizing points of view and perspectives in order to actually progress and learn as a society as we move forward in the future, regardless of whether or not integration happens. However, there are certain aspects of our society that do need to be integrated, and some that perhaps would be better off not. You know, that's something for fate to decide, or greater minds than my own. However, albeit right now we are living in a time of mass polarization with regards to the current situation that we are living in. But aside from all of that, just think, you know, well, before I go to that point, that means that there will ultimately be something that decides which was the right way to go and which was the wrong way to go, with regards to the perspective, the point of view, the individual perspective and point of view regarding the subject of what it is we're moving through. But besides all of that, we need to accept that regardless, you know, we are all still human beings. A point of view doesn't define us as regards to who we are, which is human beings, all in the need of coexisting on planet Earth in order for survival. So by that I mean, should there be a horrendous food shortage where some of us are able to buy produce and some of us aren't, I would say search your soul and ask yourself, would you like to be provided for or helped by somebody else should you be on that other side of the fence that is deemed as being perhaps the wrong way to have gone about things? Because if that's the case, then regardless of your standing right now, maybe prepare for a little bit of that too, and have not only a backlog for yourself, but perhaps a little bit extra just in case you need to help others. And even if it turns out you fall on the right side of things and it turns out you did deal with things the right way, just because somebody was wrong doesn't make them a bad person. Again, as I say, we're all individuals with an individual point of view, but collectively we are all human beings struggling for our place on planet Earth, and we do need to live together. And with that, if it turns out that somebody is wrong with regards to how they dealt with a situation, taking into all the factors that creates that polarization, it's still not right, in my opinion, to go ahead and continue to blame that person and then ostracize them and then not help them should they need help. So please remember, we are all in this together with regards to the fact that we are all human beings and we all need help from time to time. And if you're in a position to offer help, then please do so, should the times get a little darker than what they are now. And on that note, I am going to say love and peace to all things everywhere. This is Cragcore. I'm signing off. Peace.